Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jared, and this is my channel, Mazda B3K. In this video, we're going to go over the 10-hour maintenance lubrication that you have to do every 10 hours on my Kubota L2501 tractor, which I affectionately call Kenny. Without further ado, let's get started. As I showed in the introductory video, there's this nice big sticker that says that every 10 hours, 10 operating hours, you are supposed to lubricate the main pivot points on the bucket and the loader arms and the joints of the control lever. And I actually have never done that. And well, that may cause issues, maybe not. But anyway, very key thing, you got to lubricate the arms in the bucket so bad stuff does not happen, like hydraulic stuff not working correctly or bearings getting ground up or whatnot. So that's what we're going to work on today. As you can see, I've been a little bit naughty. Let me get the hours there. There we go. A little bit over 114. But I haven't been doing a ton of digging recently, mainly just kind of puttering around and using my box blade, things like that. But got to stop letting it slide. Got to work on it. So here's what we need to do. We have a zerk, which is that little metal thing. You'll clamp onto it with a grease gun, and then you pump it until you see grease squirting out both sides of the joint, fresh grease. So the main thing that we're doing here is we're just pushing out the old dirty grease. We fill it with fresh grease, and what the grease is doing right now is just keeping stuff from getting inside at the pivot where stuff moves, because if you keep it out, those parts stay nice and smooth and they move well. But as soon as stuff gets in, it gets gritty, it begins to score up, and then it's going to fail. So we're using the grease as a replaceable shield, basically. So let's go over those pivot points. We have 2 on each side of the bucket. There's one here and there's one there, and let me kind of zoom out so you can get perspective here. So one there, one here. And then as we travel up, we have another one here, kind of at the top of the hydraulic piston that is used to move the bucket back and forth. We keep moving right along. There is, and again, I'll back up so you can see, there's one here, but you have to go down low, if I remember right. Yeah. So there's the zerk kind of hiding up there next to the hydraulic line. You've got one right there. We have, again, I'll back up so you can see, there is another one that has to be lubricated right here. And there's one that needs to be lubricated here. And this has to be done on both sides. So in total, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you have a total of 12 points of lubrication that you got to work on, because 6 on one side, 6 on the other. And actually, for the lubrication of the control arm, I'm not actually sure where you do that, because I don't see a zerk up here or anything. So here's your control arm, and mine definitely has play in it. It probably could use like a bearing rebuild. But this is what it looks like under the boot. So as you can see, I've got slop in it. I'm not sure how to clean that up. I'll actually have to go research that. But as you can also see, there's not really any kind of spot to... There's no zerk or anything, so I am not sure about that one. But in any case, I will research that and get back with you guys. For now, let's go ahead and get the tools that we need to make this happen. Firstly, you're going to need these. You're going to need paper towels. I recommend shop towels because they have a low lint content. Get the real ones. Get the Scott brand. Don't get the Walmart brand or the generics, because you'll tell real quick that you got the generics. They will not get the job done. So you're going to need those, and you're also going to need a grease gun. Now I'm going to go grab mine. Be right back. And I'm back. This is my grease gun. It is a pneumatic one. I do have a compressor that drives this, and mine is pneumatic simply because I've done this by hand, and if this was the only thing you had to grease, I'd say go by hand. It's not that big a deal, but I have multiple things that I wind up having to grease. Automobiles, tractors, lawnmowers, trailers, all sorts of stuff. So I have a pneumatic one to make my life a lot easier. I also highly recommend that you upgrade your tip. This is it's the Harbor Freight version, but it's a Harbor Freight clone of an Easy Lock tip that you can screw on. I cannot remember the actual OEM on it. It's been too long. But this makes grabbing zerks a whole lot easier than the standard tip that comes on a grease gun. So, highly, highly, highly recommend you get this tip. Another thing to note is I don't care if you're using a manual grease gun, automatic. I don't care if it's a $5 gun or if it's an $80 gun. You're going to get greasy, except this. So, put on crap clothes. Because you're going to be wiping up a lot of really nasty grease, and you're going to be wiping up a lot of not so nasty grease. So I am going to figure out how to do a shot where you guys can see me greasing stuff, and then I will be back. Before we get started on the greasing, I think I should point out real quick the grease I'm using. Because, again, the main point of the grease is to keep stuff out. It's not necessarily high temp, high stress situations. It is severe duty in the fact that you're engaging in dirt and whatnot, but you don't need a really fancy grease. As you can see, this is Walmart brand multi-duty grease. Key thing here is that it is, see if it zoom will accommodate us here. It's NLGI certified. It's NLGI grade 2, which is perfectly adequate for what we're doing here. So that way you don't have to break the bank doing this. This isn't a case where you need molly grease or some other exotic racing grease. You just need a good standard general purpose grease, because again, this gets squirted out every 10 operating hours or less if you're really going nuts. So again, if you're doing this the first time and you're going, oh noes, what do I need? Hey man, SuperTech grease. It works. Alright, we're going to try this the freehand method. I don't think it's going to end well, but I'm going to try. So where is our zerk? Our zerk is up here. Yeah, this is totally not going to end well because I do not have enough hands. Alright. So what we need to do is take our grease gun, and with this model you squeeze the trigger, squeeze it, and try to get it on there. Now, it's kind of fighting me, which means I probably need to lower the arm. One other thing I want to note is that you're going to have to raise and lower these arms a little bit to reach all the zerks. So for example, if you want to get this zerk, you have to lower the arms completely and actually possibly pick the tractor up a little bit off the with the arms so that you can get an angle on this. As you can see, I'm locked in. So at this point, we just start pumping it in. If you look really closely, see the angle. See that red grease? See how we're gooshing out now? See how we're gooshing out here? So we're good. This one is good. So what we can go ahead and do, what I like to do is I will try to wipe up excess grease at this point. And just kind of clean the joint up, because grease attracts dirt. That's what it does. So you wipe it up, it won't get dirty quite as quick. Guess it's a personal preference thing. But anyway, this one is now lubed, and we're going to repeat this process with every single lubrication point along the way. So what I'll do is I'll bring you guys back if we get to a point where we needed to manipulate the arms to get access to the zerk, and I'll let you know. Alright, update guys. You're going to want to lift the loader arm up a bit in order to get at this guy. And he gave me some trouble, at least as far as I have that quick attached tip. If you had the original grease gun tip, you wouldn't have any issues, but because it's more slender. But I had a bit of a fight using that. Other thing is, in my case, these were completely packed full of dirt. So again, I couldn't connect. I had to use a pick and dig them out. And once I did that, I didn't have any issues. So that is all 6 points on this side. I'm going to go ahead and move around to the other side. All right, after much greasiness, I had to change out to a new tube of grease. Had to remember how to actually change out a tube of grease in a grease gun. And other shenanigans, it's done. I have greased all 12 points. Other than this, what I already pointed out to you, there's nothing really special to it. In my case, I also noticed my grease gun is failing. It's like it's leaking, and I need to refresh the pneumatic part of my stuff. I've got blown out hose, stuff leaking everywhere. So anyway, this is done. And we are good until 124 hours. If you're going at it every day, I would say do something even more severe duty, maybe every 5 hours. But primarily, strangely enough, I'm not really digging with my tractor all that much, probably because the ground's so rocky here. But I do use it a bunch for hauling things around and pushing things around, and I load up, cut up logs, and I use it for all sorts of things. Just not a lot of digging. Alright guys, that will do it for this video. That was a successful maintenance on my Kubota L2501 tractor named Kenny. Please leave a comment if you learned something or there's something you wish to share with me. Please also like, share, and subscribe. That helps to grow the channel to where I can provide more good content like this. And remember, I make mistakes so you don't have to. I'll see you guys next episode.